Oh, thank you so much, Stephanie. That was absolutely wonderful. And it's so wonderful to come out to Salisbury today and to really sort of get away from the bad weather, get indoors and do a bit of live stream. So I hope you've enjoyed joining us on the live stream today with some beautiful Celtic music from Stephanie. Now, if you'd like to ask Stephanie any questions, do obviously drop us a comment on the live stream and I'll do my best to ask her when she comes in. And I'm also going to be joined by Adrian, who is the director of Salisbury Museum in just a moment. So I'm really looking forward to that and sort of quizzing him and asking him a bit about the museum here in Salisbury. Now, for those of you that don't know where we are today, we're in Cathedral Close. The world famous Salisbury Cathedral is just out of the window over there, and I can see that just through the huge spire, which is obviously world famous. So that's where we are. And we're in Salisbury Museum, which is just opposite that cathedral. And Salisbury Museum, I think, has one of the most stunning collections of archaeology in the local area in Wiltshire and from Salisbury as well. In fact, downstairs, there's a 95-kilogram meteorite from a local house in Wiltshire, which is really, really cool. As you walk in, you're like, wow, that's quite a rock. But I'm going to be joined by Adrian, I think, actually. So, Adrian, welcome to the interview chair. So, the hot seat, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
First time I've been in the hot seat in here. Normally it happens in other rooms in the building.
Really? Yeah. So tell me a bit about the other rooms in the building then, because obviously today we're in the King's Room in King's House, which is all about James I, and there's a big heritage obviously part of the building here.
Yeah. I mean, this bit we're sitting in was an extension that was added to the building in the early 17th century. So the owner, or rather the leaseholder at the time, was a man called Thomas Sadler, who was related, I think, a distant relation of James I, and he had designs on entertaining royalty in the building. So he had this big extension constructed, and we're sitting in the first floor of that. And so, yes, in 1610 and 1613, James I did dine in this very room, hence the name of the building today, the King's House, which is quite tenuous, really.
Well, I think if you've got royalty, I think you should play on it, really.
Yeah, stayed here a couple of evenings probably, then just zipped off somewhere else probably. I mean, before that it was called Sherborne Place, because there's been a building on this site since the 13th century. When the cathedral moved here from Old Sarum in 1220, of course, this year is the 800th anniversary, if I can get that out, of when the cathedral moved from Old Sarum to its current location, just across the grass from where we are. The cathedral close was laid out as well, and all the buildings were planned. And this building was the home to the Abbot of Sherborne, and he served on chapter, which is the governing body of the cathedral. So Sherborne was an important part of the diocese. So whenever he had business in Salisbury, this was the house he stayed in. But of course, it was a lot smaller. And as I said, the bit we're in was an extension, added a lot later on. So on the southern side of the building, which is my left, going that way, that's the original medieval hall, if you like, of the building. So that was the abbot's house. Mm-hmm. And the shop, where you come into the building, that was originally the Great Hall. Originally had a room. It was open all the way to the roof. There had been a fire in the centre of the room. That was where the life of the house was at that time. And then coming this way, he had his own bedroom and sitting room on the ground floor. And on the other side of the building, there were kitchens and the service area and everything like that. So originally quite a compact building, but because of the changes, for example, that Sadler made in the 17th century, and then its later history, when it became a teacher training college, it's massively expanded.
Oh, brilliant! I mean, it's right. I mean, it's so interesting to see such an old building, to be quite honest, because you don't get so many of them anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a funny thing actually that this building in Salisbury is not unusual. You mentioned the cathedral.
Yes,
I mean,
of course.
That kind of overshadows everything. It's an amazing structure from the 13th century, with a few alterations in the 14th century. That big pointy thing on the top, for example. But we're somewhat overshadowed by lots of other beautiful buildings. But you're right. I mean, it's amazing. I think that it still has a use today. This building, it's evolved, it's changed, it's been developed, and as a museum, then it still has a life. It's not fossilised at any one particular moment in time.
Sure.
I think that's the really interesting thing about it. It's living. It serves a purpose in the local community. Often when you go to other sort of stately homes across the country, if they're in the care of the big organisation called the National Trust, for example, they're kind of positioned at a certain point in time, aren't they, or referring back to one aspect of its history or a few aspects of its history, and they've kind of stopped. Whereas this place, as you say, it's living, it's still alive.
Definitely, and it seems to me like you've put a huge amount of effort into the variety of the exhibits in here, because I'm walking around the place and you've got the Wessex Gallery downstairs, which is really, I would say, I mean, the style of it is very modern. It's a very modern part of the building.
Yeah, and that again is where we've added something to it, because we took over this building in 1980. Well, 1979 is when we signed the lease, but 1980 is really officially when we moved in. And we used to be in another building in Salisbury in St Anne Street, and we'd outgrown it completely because effectively we'd acquired too much archaeology.
Right, okay.
So then we converted it into a museum in the 80s, and the Wessex Gallery is the sort of the first stage, and it's going back and starting on all of that again and sort of bringing it more up to date. Because we've got archaeology collections of national importance, because we've got quite a few famous archaeological sites on our doorstep, not least Stonehenge.
Yeah, I was going to say, because obviously that's a big part of the archaeology in here. Do you have a favourite sort of exhibit in the museum?
I love it all. But I think that one of the things I always go back to, and in fact my predecessor, Peter Saunders, who was director of the museum, I think for over 20 years, his favourite object was a chess piece that was found in Salisbury in the 19th century, and that's one of my favourite pieces. It's absolutely amazing walrus ivory chess piece made in the 13th century, so it's 800 years old. Wow. And was probably made over in Scandinavia and northern Germany, and it was lost in one of the old water channels that used to run through the streets of Salisbury, and they were filled in the 19th century, and this was discovered during that process of creating the modern sewers, and it's one of the most incredible, beautiful objects, I think, from that era. It's a king piece from the chess set. He's sitting on a saddle, on a horse, protected by a series of foot soldiers, and what you think about is you think, well, of course, a chess set or chess piece comes from a set, so there were many, many, many more of these items. Where have they all gone? And I imagine that it was lost probably in a game of chess in a nearby tavern or something like that, and of course somebody lost and was frustrated and threw this thing out of the window in disgust. So that I have many favourite objects, but that's certainly one of them as well.
That's got an amazing story behind it. What I love about not ancient, but 800 years, that they're still doing the things that we do today. And I think sometimes maybe for me there's a little bit of a disconnect between, you think of like people in the olden days or whatever, and you think maybe that they weren't doing as creative things or they weren't as clever for whatever reason, because we're surrounded by technology nowadays. But it seems to me like that they certainly were, and maybe we haven't come as far as we think. Maybe.
And they're people, aren't they, like us? So they loved, they lost, they grieved, they got angry, they fought, they did all the same things that we do today. They're all Homo sapiens. So they may not have had the same technological advances that we have and the wonderful things that we can do today, but at the core of it, they're still people, and they still have, they love great art, they love, they have fun. I think we sometimes forget that when we go to museums. Museums can be quite serious places sometimes. We go around and look at, and they're quite verified, hallowed experiences, aren't they, going to museums? And I think sometimes we forget that these objects and things we're looking at actually had lives and were associated with people in the past who had exactly the same basic concerns that we had.
Yeah, definitely.
I should say.
Well, talking about fun, one of the things that struck me when I walked in today was that you've got this really, really cool Lego exhibition actually at the moment.
It's got right in the way of your filming.
It has, well, I know. But tell me a bit about that exhibition, because that's something I wasn't expecting to discover today.
This kind of partly came about as a result of lockdown, because we were approached by a company based in Salisbury called Brick Galleria. And it just turns out that in Salisbury we have the only certified Lego brick professional in the country. So he gets commissioned by Lego, the company, to make items for shows in London and things like that. And he approached us because he wanted to help us, because he knew that we were shut. He's really interested in history, loves the Tudor period, and said he had this exhibition. He wanted to do an event for us as well, but of course that's not impossible, but actually people handling Lego blocks at the moment is tricky for obvious reasons. But he had this show, so we agreed to borrow it and put it in various places around the museum, so when people come they can discover these models as they're touring around.
I think it fits in really well. I mean, there's got a model over here of Hever Castle.
Yeah, it's Hever. Yeah,
Hever. Sorry.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah,
40,500 bricks.
I know. It took, and I can't remember how many hours did it take to make it. It's an incredible amount of time. But
was it built on site then?
No. I mean, these were they're stored actually. They were just in storage, so they were just brought along, and that one comes apart because otherwise we never would have got it in here.
Fantastic. I wanted to just ask you a little bit about what it's been like over maybe lockdown, the pandemic, because you quite rightly say, you discovered something that you probably wouldn't have discovered on your local doorstep because of the pandemic. What's it been like in the museum, where obviously it relies on people coming through? It's a footfall thing, you want to get people in. What's it been like over the last few months for you as a museum?
Well, it's been tricky. I mean, really tricky. I think clearly, we're a charity. We have to stand on our own feet. We have to generate all our own income. So losing that lifeblood, like any other business, people coming through the door, is really, really difficult. So yeah, financially, it's not been a great thing for the museum. And I think also, we exist for the wider community. We exist for the tourists who come to Salisbury. We exist for people in Salisbury as well. So you're kind of cut off from that engagement, that connection that you normally have with people coming in here, enjoying what we've got, all the events and activities that we do. I mean, over the summer, we would have had a Festival of Archaeology. There would have been thousands of people coming through here. All of that's all gone. All those events and things that you've developed and taken years to work up, like particularly around, we had a Young Curators Club, Under Fives Fridays for young families. All of those things have all just come crashing to a halt. And that's the sad thing. So it's not just about the money. It is a really important aspect of it. It's actually that your purpose as an organisation also has suddenly been sort of crashing down to a halt, really. That's the really frustrating thing. And projects and ideas and things that you've been working on and building up for many years, it almost takes you in some cases back to the beginning. That's the real frustration, I think.
What do you think your vision is going forward? Because obviously, the pandemic will end at some point. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, however far off it is. Where do you see museums and and heritage sites such as yourself going?
Well, I think what we mustn't forget, there's been a huge amount of emphasis, hasn't there, on digital. That's what we're doing today. It's really important. That's how we've reached out to people during the pandemic. But when we reopened, people were keen to come back, and that's what you mustn't lose sight of. Is that museums and this building as well that we've been talking about, it's about authentic experiences. It's about coming here and seeing the real thing, and that's really powerful, and I think that's what people want. And increasingly this age, when we do live more of our lives on Zoom and in an electronic world, I think there's going to be more demand actually for people to have authentic experiences and see genuine artifacts from the past, and that's what we can offer. So the plan, whatever it may be, has to involve that. It involves people coming back here and seeing and experiencing these wonderful places. Because, if the high street's going to die and there's fewer places for people to go, then we need this even more than ever. These experiences of coming and engaging with genuine things.
Absolutely. No, I really stand with you on that. And I think it's really important that we don't lose sight of that, because it's something that affects the whole arts, the creative world, and everything together. We can't lose sight of that. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to come here today. And I think there's a lot of synergy. So thank you so much for joining us.
No, brilliant. Well, thank you for coming. It's been great listening to it.
Thank you so much, Adrian.
Brilliant. Cheers.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
We're going to have a quick chat with Stephanie now as well. So Stephanie, do you want to come and join us? Well, actually, because of social distancing, you're just going to join me, actually. So Adrian, thank you so much. And Stephanie, there's your mic. There you go. So Stephanie, what is it like playing in such an amazing building, which I know that you're very fond of, and this is a building that's very close to your heart, because you've played here before, and it's somewhere that you've often been.
I used to, before the pandemic, I had a season ticket where I would come in, and my mum had one as well. So, because my mum lives, she lives quite away. She doesn't live quite away from us, but we used to do like our mother-daughter shopping trips in Salisbury. So basically, all my shopping I did in Salisbury, and then we would do, come around the museum. So we had our season ticket because we'd have to feed Hobnob a sugar lump.
Now, Hobnob, right.
Hobnob.
I asked you about this when we first realised we were coming to live stream here. What and who is Hobnob?
Hobnob he goes with the giant, the Salisbury giant, and he's huge. He's huge. He must be like 10 foot tall. He's this big giant with a big beard, and he went in the front of processions and things, and he's got, I think Hobnob's a horse. He could be a camel. I'm not sure. He's some sort of creature that clears the way for the giant, but he's really cool. And there was a lady, I went to a Christmas party once, and there was a lady who'd built like a replica, and she came to the party in dressed as Hobnob, which was really cool.
Well, that's amazing. I don't really know what you would do, but I love the fact that you got the reference to it as well when she turned up. But there's another exhibit which I thought was really poignant, actually, and I know we tried to start the live stream today with a shot of it. I hope you were able to see. But there's a harpsichord, and in the back there's a lady playing the harp, which you pointed out as soon as we walked into the room.
Yeah, I noticed harps everywhere. There's a harp, I noticed. It's all those ones in the National Trust houses that I want to go and play. But yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous, that, because you can see old Sarah in the background. of
Yes.
so you've got Old Sarum, you've got the cathedral, and I love the fact there's a whole load of musicians playing. So there's a recorder on the side of the harpsichord as well.
Well, you started off with
I
the
did
recorder.
start off with.
I mean, that's something I wanted to ask you actually was, given the heritage and the history behind the building and the museum, how did that influence your musical choices today?
Well, I thought because it's a Tudor, we're in a Tudor room, and although I played like Spanish Sephardic music, which sort of is Jewish music from the like really early on, like 15th, 16th century, I thought it would be really nice to play the recorder, and it is a Renaissance recorder I was playing, so it's like one which, they would have played, Henry VIII would have played, or so I thought I'm gonna stick it in because I've actually really missed playing with other people. So normally I'd play the recorder with other people, and I've really missed playing it. So I thought, right, I'm gonna play it today.
Oh, well, I really enjoyed that, and it just sort of because I haven't heard you play the recorder for a long time, and yeah, we like you said, we've been struggling to find an outlet for that really because wind instruments are on that list of sort of the list of instruments you can't play.
But because we're married, I figured that because you're on the camera, it was fine to breathe at you, so it was safe.
I was actually going to say that we've had a couple. One comment from David Brown who says creaky floorboards with a double exclamation mark, and I tell you what, that they are creaky. I tried to film without my shoes on, that just didn't work. So
it really is creaky. That's part of it adds to the atmosphere.
Absolutely, and also shows that we are doing everything live.
Yes.
Which brings me to a question that I'd like to ask you about playing inside, actually, because this is, I think, the first time you've done a live stream inside since, well, probably lockdown, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, so the last time I played inside, it was a wedding in February, and then before that, I think it was the carol service.
Yeah, so we're going back quite a way.
So I was accompanying the choir, so it's a long time ago, and it's really nice.
Oh, I wanted to ask you actually, not just about how nice it was, but also in terms of the harp. Is it different playing inside to outside? How does the harp react?
The harp is happy. It hasn't gone out of tune. It's really happy being in like this inside environment. It doesn't mind going outside, but like sometimes you've got such variations in temperature, haven't you? And the weather as well. If it's damp, it does affect it quite badly. But it likes it in here.
That's good.
It played
we're
in here
glad.
before, and it's come back, and it enjoys it. The other thing as well is that it's, we've both been performing outside, and although it's really lovely to perform outside, the sound gets lost. And actually, in this space, it's a really lovely acoustic. So it's really nice hearing the harp come back and the recorder as well. So you have got that echo, that natural reverb on it, and it's more, it's really lovely to play to.
Definitely, because I mean, it is, isn't it? I mean, that's one of the ways that you react to music is that you hear yourself back and you can play to yourself, and I think that's one of the challenges maybe of playing outside. But I think particularly on the harp, and probably if you'd have played the recorder, it might have been a little bit the same as well.
Yeah.
But how do you find? A quick question about sort of the live streaming side of things. How do you find playing online to people who you can't see? And I ask this because I know particularly that this is a place that you've played live in before, and you've played recitals here in the past with obviously lots of people in the room. What's it like, just you and your harp?
It's a little bit odd because normally you've got your audience and they're normally sat. I mean, like the front row normally fills up fast, so you've always got people. Then they're there. They're like they can't be more than a meter away from you, and you can, as you're playing, you can read their expressions and you can see whether they're enjoying a piece or not. So if you're thinking, oh, they're a bit bored of this piece, you just move on to the next one. But obviously, I can't tell that on the live stream, so I've got to go. Yeah, I played this one enough. Now I'll move on, as opposed to whether. And it's just really nice as well. Just seeing. It's just really nice seeing people they're like smiling or enjoying it. And I know people are enjoying it online, and it is really, at the same time, it's quite freeing to not have, like you can start whenever you want. You can be wherever you want. You're not constrained by where an audience has to go. So that, or you can play outside. But at the same time, yeah, I miss my audience.
Or you could put large Lego houses right in front of you. It's great.
Oh yeah, I spotted the rat in the alleyway of that one. That's great.
Oh, well, Stephanie, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for playing this afternoon. It's been absolutely wonderful to hear you play again. So really appreciate all you've done for that. And just wanted to actually say another comment from David Brown. He says, it's another great location, much more suitable for the wet, wintry weather, which...
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, final question, Stephanie, just before we go. Where would you like to go and live stream in an ideal, what would your ideal location be to live stream?
Or Hampton Court Palace.
Hampton Court Palace.
Maybe the Globe.
Maybe the Globe.
Or some really Hever Castle would be good, wouldn't it?
Well, you see, I was thinking of a snow stream.
Oh, okay. Now I'm thinking, I'm thinking historic buildings. I'm getting in.
Brilliant. Well, like I said, thank you so much, Stephanie. We'll see you again soon for another live stream, hopefully either next week or the week after. Because actually, one thing that I just wanted to bring up, if you have been following us, you'll know that we're a team of 4 people. And just over the weekend, our cameraman, Sam, his granddad passed away. So we just wanted to let you know, Sam, that our thoughts are with you. And we are thinking of you. And I hope that my camera work today did you justice, Sam. So when you watch this back, you can critique me back in your own time at home. But the other person I actually want to say thank you to as well is somebody that placed an order from our online shop a couple of weeks ago. As a lady called Carolyn Blanche, and she left us a really nice little note that said, really good luck to Stephanie and myself, great venture, and she watches our posts and our updates with interest. So that's really good to know that you're watching, Carolyn, and really encouraging to hear that you're supporting us. So thank you for that. And really, just to say a huge thank you to everybody else who supported us on our venture, on our journey, especially today to Salisbury Museum for having us, to Kate and Adrian for hosting us here. It's been an absolute privilege to come and, I say perform, but you've been the performer. I feel like as a team we perform a little bit, but it's been an absolute privilege to come here today, and we've really, really enjoyed getting out and exploring once again the things that we're around us and rediscovering our world together. So thank you if you've been watching. If you are online, do make sure that you hit the like button on our Facebook page. We're also on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and we're also on Twitch, which is available through our website, ocol.tv or onecityonelight.com. So if you are around, do head over and hit the like button, subscribe, and follow us so that you can see where we're going to next. I know that we've got some really exciting places that we're wanting to go to in the future, and we're looking forward very much to making those happen for you. But from myself, Richard, from Stephanie today, thank you so much for having us, and we'll see you again soon.